Today is February 1st, 2023, and I'm going to go back to Madison Square Garden on July 13th, 1985, the British Bulldogs versus the Hart Foundation, which is a very classic feud of the great tag teams of the 80s. It's Bret Hart before he was a big singles wrestler in the 90s, the Anvil, Jim Neidhart, and the British Bulldog, and the Dynamite Kid. So here we go. So this match is on the network, Peacock, whatever you want to call it, under the old school section with all the old house shows from the Garden and the Spectrum and Boston Garden. And these two teams had a lot of classic matches especially at house shows and at that time in the 80s. And some of the great tag teams. The tag teams in the 80s were the best. They were just my favorite time. The Killer Bees, Demolition, the Rougeau brothers, Nasty Boys, the Beverly Brothers. I love the tag teams at that time. So I like the created tag teams in the game that people make on the community creations. So the Hart Foundation's in the game for those that don't know, but the British Bulldogs created off the community creations. So the Bulldogs famously won the tag titles from Brutus Beefcake and Greg the Hammer Valentine, the Dream Team, in WrestleMania 2 on April 7th, 1986, with Captain Lou Albano, and Ozzy Osbourne was in their corner too at the time. So the Hart Foundation, they were tag champs. I think they were tag champs multiple times. I can't remember how many times. In the Bulldogs, they were the tag champs. And then the Dynamite Kid hurt his back, and they had to. I'm trying to remember if they had to get rid of the belts at that time. I forget, but he had hurt his back. I think in late '85, and which made it harder for them to be champions. But I remember the Anvil went on to team with Owen Hart later on, and Bret, of course, became a big star was the champ, the heavyweight champion of the world. It's the singles, probably had a bigger singles career than the tag team, but I always liked him with the tag teams. The tag teams in the 80s, they had LJN wrestling figures. If you don't know what those are, look them up. They're I think they're the first set of wrestling figures that WWF had. And the British Bulldogs and the Hart Foundation were both LJN tag team figures, along with the Killer Bees too. And they made half a Demolition. They had Demolition Axe and never made Smash, which people are probably still sitting around waiting for Smash, sitting there with their LJN Demolition Axe going, "Where's my Smash? Where's my Smash?" And that's sitting there with a big bowl of soup and looking at Axe, wondering if they're ever going to see Smash. I'm sure people made custom Smashes, but yeah, it's the Demolition Tag Team was never completed in LJN, but they did do it in Hasbro line. Now I'm getting off on all the tangents here with all the wrestling figures, but just remember those. But they had Demolition came along and with Hasbro. Hasbro was like, LJN, we'll finish Demolition for you, and they released Axe Smash and Crush actually. Remember, Demolition had a third, was Demolition Crush. I remember they had a match, all three of them with Mr. Perfect against the Ultimate Warriors team in the Survivor Series. It was either 89 or 90, I believe. I forget which one of those. And they had all three of them. That was a good match. So anyway, the British Bulldog went on to have a singles career. It was pretty good. He was just called the British Bulldog. And he had a great SummerSlam match in 1992 against Bret Hart That was the main event, and I think it was at Wembley Stadium. That's a classic match. I've watched that match a bunch of times. That's on the network too. Everything's on the network. Not everything, but a lot of great stuff's on there. I like to go back and watch all that stuff. So Davey Boy is working on Bret Hart right now. So I like to have these tag matches too. This is my first tag match on my channel here. So we'll add all singles matches, but figured let's do tag team today. Get some sandwiches, sit back, relax, and enjoy a nice tag team match. With some bologna and cheese and professional wrestling, the greatest sport in the world. Said Flair. Flair said, "Go the greatest sport in the world." And woo, doing his woo thing. So we got a lot of finishers on there. Wow, look at let's see if you see at the bottom of the screen is X1, X2. That's how many finishers they have. They're loaded up with finishers. One thing about this game, the interference happens too much when they cover. It makes the match, sometimes they can go forever because they keep interfering. They cover the guy and the other guy jumps in and interferes with the match, which could drive you crazy. So one thing about Fire Pro Wrestling, you can turn off interference and they just have like a clean tag match with no interference. They just, when they pin them, they pin them. Like, see if the guy comes in now. See, he starts to come in. A lot of times they break up the pin, which is what they do in the real matches on TV. But I think it happens too much on here. Sometimes the match is going and you're like, all right, I need this match to end, and the guy breaks it up again. And so I got Anvil's beaten up pretty bad here. Got the yellow head, red body. Oh, he kicked out. Orange arms, he's beaten up. Dynamite Kid's pretty healthy so far. No damage at all. Here he comes. Dynamite Kid was a great wrestler. He had some great singles matches. If you go to YouTube and watch his matches on there, he was fantastic. Exciting, just pure wrestling matches. It was great. Some guys don't even need a storyline; they just put on a great match. So it's like always like some of my favorites. So Macho Man and Ricky Steamboat, they always had great, just exciting wrestling matches. Just the mechanics of it. Dynamite Kid was one of the best at it. And then there's the guys who are just they just know how to put on a good show and don't have all the wrestling mechanics and stuff. Like Ultimate Warrior didn't do a lot of moves, but he was fun to watch, so that's all that mattered. See, now the Davey Boy has 2 finishers to use. They're piling up finishers quick. So Anvil's stealing an Iron Sheik's finisher, the camel clutch. Wonder if he pays the Iron Sheik some rights fees there for using the camel clutch. I don't know. So yeah, you ever have grilled cheese and tomato soup? That's good. Nothing like you sit down WrestleMania, get some grilled cheese, some tomato soup, and just soak it up into bread to have a good old time. Of course, I like nachos too, nachos and chips. That's what do you like to eat when you watch wrestling, especially like a big event like WrestleMania? WrestleMania 39's 2 nights. You'll be beating a lot that weekend, I guess. If you eat soup during a match, you eat a lot of soup. I don't know. There's sandwiches. I like soup and sandwiches. I think a lot of people probably have like pizza and stuff. All right, Dynamite's leaping up. Here we go. Let's see. Bret Hart standing there. Oh, that was great. He leaped down. Bret Hart just watched him come right on him and take him over and knock him down there. Let's see. Davey Boy disappeared. Maybe he went home to get some soup. And he's outside the ring somewhere, recovering, I think. Or maybe he's doing one of those. He's turning on Dynamite. He's when they just leave the ring. I think Rick Martel did that. And that's how Strikeforce ended. I think Rick Martel walked out on Tito Santana. That was another great tag team in the '80s. Strikeforce. Tito was a good Intercontinental Champion singles wrestler, but he was good on the tag team with Rick Martel after the Can-Am connection ended. If you go to WrestleMania 3, the opening match was the Can-Am connection against Don Morocco and Cowboy Bob Orton. And then Tom Zink left for I'm not sure why. And then Strike Force began with Tito and Martel. Then Martel became the model, Rick Martel, and he had the arrogant spray. You can go back and watch this if you don't know what I'm talking about. If you do know what I'm talking about, you understand. But it's all in network. He's tapping out. Oh, I think I might have set pin only. Sometimes I set pin only if I want a match to end in a pin, because he would have just tapped out there. I use the submissions as like a wear down move. So we're past 10 minutes into this match. See, the tag matches last longer than the singles matches, obviously, because there's more guys to wear down. You want a real long match, you have a 4-on-4 match. I also like to do fatal 8-ways in this, where you have 8 guys, and you have it on elimination to the last man standing. I like to do that for the championship. Have the 8 guys there. Let's see. I wonder when Dynamite will get back in there and save Davey Boy get back in there and save Dynamite. Bret Hart. Oh, nice kick, Bret Hart. The excellence of execution. Oh, here comes Dynamite coming back. And yeah, I got the light blue tights on him here, which is, I think that's what they wore at WrestleMania 2 when they won the tag titles. And with good old Captain Lou Albano. When they beat Valentine and Beefcake were a good team too, the Dream Team. Then they had the new Dream Team with Dino Bravo and Greg Valentine, if you remember that. So anybody watch NXT last night? The big show's Saturday, the Braun Breaker in the cage. I love cage matches. Like to just get a pizza and watch the cage matches. Let's see what happens. I think that's Saturday at 8 on the network. Braun Breaker. He's there's another tag team, the Steiner brothers. He's the son of Rick Steiner. Oop, just see, there's the interference again, stopping the match from ending. So that's what makes the tag matches real long too. The interference. Wish you could disable that. Maybe in 23 they'll do that. That's why you can. What's good? You can disable that in Fire Pro Wrestling World. If you don't know what Fire Pro Wrestling World, it's a really good wrestling game. It's just that it doesn't look as good as this, but it has a lot of good gameplay features and create wrestlers and everything like that. But it's like it looks like a, I don't know, PlayStation 1 or 2 game instead of a PlayStation 5 game. All right, let's go. See, Dynamite just smashed down hard on the mat there. See, that's not going to finish him. No, he did. Oh, I'm wrong. He got him. All right. All right, I hope you enjoyed this match, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.